Hello brew tubers and welcome to Tales of Yesterbeer. Yet another Fuller's beer. It is their 1845 Strong Ale, which recently made an appearance in the Camera's What's Brewing newspaper, as it wins the best bottle conditioned beer of 2018, I think it is. So I shall quickly read this out to you. Fuller's 1845 has been crowned Camera's champion bottled beer of Britain, recognising the best bottle conditioned brews in the country. This 6.3% strong ale was described by judges as rich and fruity and matured to perfection. And it goes on about the competition. Fuller's head brewer Georgina Young said this beer was the brainchild of a former head brewer, the great Reg Drury, to celebrate 150 years of brewing at Fuller's. So I'm delighted that it is still popular as ever 23 years later. It was also the beer that caused amber malt to be reintroduced to British brewing, malt that is now widely used in a large number of brews. So that's quite interesting, the fact that this beer sort of reintroduced amber malt to us. Winning the Champion Bottled Beer of Britain award is a real honour. I think we will be celebrating at Chiswick by drinking a few bottles. The notion of a vintage beer was probably conceived in 1995 when the Prince of Wales visited the Fuller's Brewery and under the eye of Reg Drury threw a handful of hops into a copper as his contribution to the brewery's 150th anniversary brew. The result was a bottle conditioned 1845 beer. Anyway, 1845, first brewed in 95 to commemorate the 150th anniversary of Fuller, Smith and Turner. This bottle conditioned recipe is inspired by the original Fuller's brewing books. The amber malt and golding hops combined to create a delicious fruitcake aroma. Bottle conditioned. So yes, it's beer from 1995. But inspired by 1845, so that's good enough to make it on my list. I've pre-poured it. Here's one I poured earlier. Lovely red aroma. Who the heck gets red aroma? Red colour to it. Very red. Very nice. Very lovely. Hints of plum. Figs. Sweet, sort of fruity notes as well. Molasses, yeah, fruitcake aroma as well. Very good, very good. Right. Okay. Quite malty. Sort of dark, roasty maltiness. As I always say that. But it is that sort of slight bitter roast malt twang to it. There's a sweetness there, sort of molasses taste. A bit of fruit, sort of figs, prunes, but quite bitter as well. Quite complex sort of beer. I know what they mean by that fruitcake taste. It is there, it's sort of fruitcakey. Yeah. So I guess they bottle condition mature it for 100 days before selling. It's a good beer. Has got a very sort of bitter malt twang to it, I suppose. Sort of counterbalances with the sweetness. Am I picking up much hops? I suppose there are sort of some hopped flavours lurking there, yes. Very sort of old sort of malt. Goldings, is it Goldings? I'm sure they said they use Goldings. I mean, Golding hops was sort of like the posh hop of the Victorian period. Fuggles was cheaper, I think, than Goldings was the sort of hop they used for everything. Used in huge quantities as well. Like some of the IBUs were ridiculous. I did a Imperial Stout from 1848, was it? 1843? I can't remember. 200 IBUs. Yeah, there's about 230 grams of East Kent Goldings for a 16-litre brew. Something like that. It's ridiculous. So the beers of this period were very heavily hopped. But it's very different to the hopping that we do nowadays. I suppose they're sort of aged slightly longer, so that sort of kicked back some of the hop flavour. Obviously preservative qualities as well of the hops. But you know, looking at the recipe books like this one here, you just get a sense of how much hopping they did. So let's just take a random recipe from the. There we go. What's this? Oh, it's a mild 1880 Barclay Birkins mild. Pale malt is 6.3 kilos, a kilo of invert sugar, 113 grams of cluster hops at the start of the boil, 64 grams of fuggles midway, and then 64 grams of fuggles again near the end of the boil. So that's 235. So yeah, a lot of hops basically. A lot of hops. So anyway, this pretty much I think follows in the tradition. Heavily hopped, lots of strong flavoured malts like amber and brown, crystal perhaps. Chocolate malts slightly later I think than amber and brown. Of course, you used to get whole beers, no pale malt, just amber malt or brown malt, and then they realised that although it was cheaper to make, you didn't extract as much sugar as you did from pale malts. It was better to pay more money for pale malt, which would give you more sugars to brew with. So yeah, that was a sort of decline of amber and brown malt in brewing, really, from being a sort of 100% base malt to being a sort of flavouring additive malt. But yeah, lovely colour there. It's a good beer. Anyway, we'll leave it there. So lots of flavours in there. And I shall see you all again soon. Goodbye.